Welcome to the Change Energizer Hot Seat Podcast, the place where leaders are dropped into the hot seat to open up about high-stake wins and reveal the trust X factor behind their triumphs. I'm your host, Scott Carley, the Trust Energizer. And I believe the confidence people have in the way you show up, your character and expertise is a real game changer. When trust is high, people don't just perform, they pull off legendary Super Bowl wins. Today's guest is Artie Berne from ArTex Funding. You call Artie when you want commercial lending outside of traditional banking options. So welcome to the show. Glad to have everybody here. And Artie, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing marvelous. Good morning. Thanks for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I've been friends with you a long time. You've been great. I really appreciate you a lot.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, audience, just FYI, this is the most networked, well-known man in Austin, Texas. Everybody knows who Artie is. And we played golf together. He put a thing together once a month. We would go out and do a foursome, and it was great. Maybe, 10 or 15 guys. And this guy's is great. So, Artie, tell the audience what you do and who you serve.
So again, hi everyone. I'm Artie Berne with ArTex Funding, and I finance companies that are either young and growing, can't qualify for bank financing, or you've been in business for a while and you're actually having financial issues, problems, and you'd come to me because I'm the alternative lender.
Yeah. You are the godsend for people who really need help, can't get it traditionally. So you've made a lot of friends in this business world, Artie, and thank you for all of that.
No problem.
So Artie, here's what we both know. Every one of your clients, prospects, and decision makers are silently asking a series of trust-based questions before they ever sign a deal with you. And they may not say it out loud, but they're scanning for signals, looking for proof that you're someone they can rely on, collaborate with, and work alongside. That's exactly why I created the Trust Credit Score, a framework built around the 5 key signals of the TRUST acronym. T, your motives, your true motives. R stands for your radiance and vibe, how you show up. U stands for your underlying core values. S stands for your skill set and expertise. And T stands for your track record. So today, Artie, I'm putting you in the hot seat to answer some questions your clients are already asking, whether they realize it or not, about your professional service. You know, I've known you for quite a while, and I've heard some really great stories from you. Artie, what's the wildest high-stake challenge your team ever faced where failure would have been a nightmare?
So last year, a couple of years ago now, I got a call from Round Rock Honey, and they were working on a large order with Walmart. Now, to get into Walmart, it takes sometimes months, if not years. They finally get the order. And Scott, they had to ship this order within a month. Problem is, he didn't have any jars or lids. He had to go to his manufacturer, his vendor, supplier, get jars and lids for all this honey he was producing. And of course, he didn't want to miss this because he would have missed a huge Walmart order. And we wound up funding him within a week. He was able to order the jars and the lids and labels and everything for the honey and ship it to Walmart. And we were a hero for him. He couldn't have thanked us more. He practically cried, and
oh man,
got him financing.
I love that story because you helped somebody with a chance of a lifetime, right. and you put them through it.
And the other thing I get calls sometimes on Monday. We have to make payroll on Friday, and it's like, okay, how are we going to collateralize this loan? How are we going to help you? And we go through that and we figure something out. I get funded. They send me the documents on Monday. We give them a term sheet on Tuesday. We get them funded by Wednesday so we can make payroll and the people will still be there next week.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that is a quick turnaround. And if it's payroll, you're talking about a lot of money there. You're not talking about a couple of $1,000s. So, man, Artie, no wonder you're one of the most well-connected men in Austin and well loved. So, all right, well, I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and we'll just start off and kind of see where this thing goes. So the first one, a question that your clients are asking, and just like that guy, so how well do you understand the urgency and complexity of my deal? I mean, can you move fast and smart, or are you going to take a lot of time for delays? I mean, that guy was asking that. So how can people trust you about that?
With us, since we're an alternative lender, we need a lot less paperwork. A lot of times we're asset based. So I'll ask you, how are we going to collateralize this loan? What are we going to use? Do you have inventory, equipment, purchase orders, invoices, contracts, real estate? So, if you have one of those, I tell you we can get you funded. It depends on the asset though, anywhere from 1 day to 3 weeks. So it's a lot quicker than the bank. I always say go to the bank first. They're cheaper money. That's how I create the trust. I don't just sell you money just to sell you money. I only sell you money if I think you need it and I think you qualify. Because when you get bank funding, it's cheaper. Go to the bank. No worries, no harm. I get plenty of calls, plenty of deals. I want to help you. And a lot of people really they're super happy when I do that. And what I'll do is I'll give you 1, 2, or 3 bankers to go to try them first. Then if they can't get you funded, you come back to me. And I tell you that. Then what I also do, I call the banker. Hey, I just gave you Frank Murphy. He's going to call you. If you don't hear from him, you call him. I think he's slightly profitable, so maybe you can finance him. If you can't, then let me know. Come back to me and I can finance.
Yeah, because if people are looking for money and they can't get it from a bank, then they're going to come to you. Right. And if they can get it from a bank, then they'll come back to you at another time. But you're not in competition with a bank. Right. So I love that. But there's another question that comes to my mind when you say, I do asset-based lending, you may get a deer in the headlight look and they say, assets? What do you mean by assets? So how do you help people figure out what assets they have that you can use?
Well, I go through questions. I ask them, what do you have inventory? Is it free and clear? What type of equipment do you have? You have anything that had paid off that we can use as collateral? Do you have purchase orders that you need to ship goods? Finished goods, widgets too. So I'll go through a different various questions to ask you. What do you have? What do you want to put up? What maybe the bank doesn't have a lien on, a UCC lien on. If they don't have a lien on it, then we can use 1, 2, or 3 different things to use as asset for collateral. That's what asset-based lending is, ABL, they call it. We look at your purchase orders, your inventory, and maybe your AR. If we can use 1, 2, or 3 of them, or all of them, we can give you a higher loan amount too.
Yeah, well, I think that all by itself is really helpful because, again, so many times when people are in a real needy situation, they're not thinking. And assets, what could I borrow against? But if you have a list of things that you have customarily used to borrow against, then wow, you've created a line, an opening that they would never have known about.
What I say to them, Scott, is it's not so much on your FICO score. We've done FICO score loans, as low as 580. So it's really, what is the collateral? What is the asset? We'll fund you if you've been in bankruptcy or if you have an IRS lien or levy. As long as you're paying off the IRS, we'll fund you. We're more flexible, more creative. And I tell people we're more expensive, but that's, we price for risk. So that's, the way the ball rolls this way.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it works.
Right.
Nobody should complain about that. That's just how it works. So
The other thing is we do loans from 1 month to 4 years. That's it. Short, medium term bridge lending. So if you only need a 1 month loan to get over hump to maybe make payroll, we can do a 1 month loan, a 2 month loan, a 3 month loan, all the way up to 4 years.
Yeah, because that Walmart deal may be coming in 30 days or 45 days, and you just need to make it to that 45 days, and then the money will be there. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I love that. That's cool. So let me ask you another question. I mean, I'm sure that somebody's asking this one. Are you just trying to capitalize on my desperation, or are you truly here to help me succeed? I mean, are you wanting to be more of a partner, not just a predatory lender?
So what I always tell you is, believe it or not, and I think that's why I have this success. I actually want to keep you on my money, on our money, as short as possible. We know we're more expensive. We start from 8%. It depends on your financial condition and financial strength and your FICO score and your profit level of your corporation, all the way up to 38%. 38%, you've had a bankruptcy, you have an IRS lien, you've had your car repossessed, but maybe your business is showing some slight profit. And I'm honest with people. So a lot of times I'll tell you, I don't know if I can help you. It's 50-50 if I can. Let me get in the documents. Let me look at the financial detail. If I can help you, I'd like to set your expectations low because I don't know if I can help you yet. I can't promise you. So I said that's how I kind of set it up. I try to not over promise, and I try to under promise and over deliver. Really, is how I set up my trust.
Yeah, that's a pretty smart axiom to live by: under promise and over deliver. But I like that because what I'm hearing is you're really here to help me. There's risk and there's cost in how much I help you and how much risk you have. If you've never had bankruptcy and you're not having to pay the RS back, then you're not as high a risk. But if you are, that doesn't mean you're out of the picture. It just means that it's more expensive. Hello, that's the business world we live in.
I once helped a guy. Yeah, he was getting his Mercedes repossessed, and his mansion was in foreclosure, but his business was actually making money. So we funded him because he had, good accounts receivable and he had good inventory. So we gave him a loan. He was surprised we gave him a loan, but it was based on his collateral, his assets.
I love that. I love that. And on behalf of those people, thank you. Um, so here's another question that I have, and this is something that I think of, and I'm sure other people do as well. Will you be upfront with me about the risk, the fees, and worst case scenarios? I don't want to have any big surprises. So will you just be upfront with me about all that?
Yeah, not only am I upfront with you on the phone call, but then the beauty is when I give you the term sheet, it's all spelled out in there, all the different fees and interest rate and timeline and where you need to pay. A lot of times what I've done is if a bank has referred you to me, so you're not bankable, I get you on the phone with the bank and say, we have a conference call. So you can hear from the banker how to get back to the bank. That's the goal. And I usually, after you're paid off and you're better, bigger, better, stronger, I give you back to the bank because I'm in first lien position. So you have a clean balance sheet. The bank loves you because you have no debt, and they take you back and hopefully give you a bigger line of credit or bigger term loan. And, you're off. Remember, I'm a bridge. The goal is to get you back to the bank.
Okay, Artie, I'm telling you what, this whole conversation already, we're just hardly getting started. And I'm going check, 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 high trust, high trust, high trust. And I love that. I love that about you. I've known you, for years. You and I have never had to do business together like that, but I've known you for years. And this next question, I already have the answer, but I still have to ask it. Based on what you just said, though, you do a three-way conversation with the banker and the client and you. But this question, do you show up like a professional or are you a fast talking hustler? I think I already know the answer to that question.
No, you always try to be professional. You want to live and work with high integrity and high truth, and people love when you do that. And you give them honest. I tell them I'm about ready to be direct. Hopefully, not too brutally honest, but sometimes I have to tell you, I can't get you funding, or you need to go talk to an attorney or bankruptcy attorney. So, that's a big thing. And I hope you don't mind my honesty and directness. I have said a lot of times. So, that's the way you have to be sometimes.
Yeah. Artie, how long you been doing this?
15 years now. Yeah, this is career 2.0. I already had a very first successful career.
So audience, did you just hear what he said? He's been doing this 15 years. So he's not a novice and he's heard quite a few stories. And so based on the fact that he's heard quite a few stories, when you come up with a situation, Artie starts scratching his head saying, well, I can't help you, but here are 3 things, 4 things you could do to get in a place where I can help you. And then maybe the bank could help you. Folks, I don't know about you, but I consider that some really valuable advice. Artie, you have a lot of experience in that, don't you?
You know what else I do to create trust, as you say, is so if you're $1 million company, top line 2 million, $3 million company, which I get calls from million up to 20 million, and you need me, you need alternative working capital asset based lending. Where'd you go wrong? What'd you do wrong? So what I do is I hook you up with like a virtual CFO or a virtual CEO. It's on a month-to-month basis to try to help figure out how to get you bigger, stronger, better, more profitable. I have different people that I associate with that I bring in to help you straighten out the ship, so to speak. For some reason, the foundation wasn't correct. So we have to figure out where you went wrong. How do we help you become more profitable?
Yeah. And again, on behalf of all those people that you have helped do that, thank you. Because there are a lot of people who come into business, they start a business, they inherit a business, and they really don't know what they're doing, especially with finances and money flow and profitability and all of that. So, what I'm hearing from you is a whole lot more than just an asset-based lender. You're somebody who understands how it all works. So, well, let me ask you a question. Maybe you can give us some, for instances. What's your track record of successful asset-based lending? I mean, how many deals have you funded, in 15 years or however long, and how many of those have worked well?
It's funny. So I get about a referral a day, 1, 2, or 3 calls a day these days.
Wow.
So well networked in marketing. I sponsor and speak, things like that. So last year, it's funny, really only 10 to 20% really fund due to many different thousands of reasons when you go through underwriting. People don't always tell you the truth, and then when you get their financial details, you can really read the tea leaves. And but last year we did up to $38 million in funding.
Wow,
So,
$38 million.
and these are small, medium, and large funding, short-term, medium-term loans, really debt. We only do debt. We do not do equity. We don't bring in investors. This is also, what do we like to say? It's the private equity guys like us because we're non-dilutive. We don't dilute your equity. So we're debt. If you can get loans and it's, doesn't eat into any of your equity, then so yeah, we have a lot of different track record. We do a lot of purchase order funding. You need things manufactured overseas. We'll pay the factory for you. A lot of invoice funding. That's kind of like a flexible line of credit. Loans against equipment. It's really a lot of different things that you learn in the business school as alternative business financing.
Yeah, I like that. You must have a track record for you to be known as well as you are and to have been in business for as long as you've been in business successfully, and that you're getting calls at least one or two a day.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, Artie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me this. This is a curious question. How flexible are you when deals hit a snag?
Every deal hits a snag. What I always like to say, they fall apart on Friday, only to be we try to put them back together on Monday. It's you always get that call on Friday. There's some issue, some problem, there's some deal, and yes, you have to work it. And sometimes you have to talk to the bank and subordinate their existing loan, or you have to negotiate a lien release from an investor that might have an asset tied up or collateralized, or there's a UCC lien on the company and all the assets are tied up. And which ones can I use? Would you release for funding? So, you never know until you get through it and you do some of the UCC liens and you see, wait a minute, everything's tied up. There's no assets, there's no collateral. Okay, well then can we do an unsecured loan? What is your revenue like? We do unsecured revenue-based loans. And that, again, we can do from 1 month to 4 years. We look at bank statements, we look at your tax returns, and we look at your P&L. So all your assets are tied up. We need to go to an unsecured revenue loan. We look at those 3 tea leaves, P&L, last federal tax return, and your bank statements. If all 3 things tell the same story, we can get you financing on an unsecured revenue-based loan.
Yeah. Oh, Artie, I'm hearing so many smart business things that you're saying because you know what to look for. I wouldn't know what to look for, but you know what to look for that, like you just said, tells the real story. And I love that. I'm sure there's a lot of business owners out there who would not know where to look. And when they come to a dead end and things unravel, they think it is the end. Right. But you're somebody who can step up and say, well, there may be some other things that we considered. They're more expensive. You have to work with me. I'm trying to build trust with you. You're trying to build trust with me. And so let's see where we can come together on stuff. And I see that trust is a really big thing in your industry. Would you say that trust is pretty big?
Yeah, very big. How I build trust with the banks who give me the deal, my goal is to bring them back to you. And when you do that, they forgot about the guy that they gave, 14 months ago, and he finally paid us off. And I give him back to the bank. They love that. They say, oh, wow, I forgot about this guy. Yeah, this is great. He doesn't have any loans. Here's 2 or 3 more, 4 more deals. Hey, you want to look at this? Want to look at that? So that's how you kind of build trust.
Yeah. And trust is built drop by drop. It's won in drops, lost in buckets. But if we work at it, if we're intentional about it, it's amazing what just normal, average behavior does to build trust. So yesterday, I went to my bank just as they were closing, and because I received a check in for one of my keynotes, and I deposited the check, and nice. It was significant. And so the guy said, well, do you want your balance on your receipt? And I said, oh, no, I won't even be available for another day or two. And he looked at me and he said, you know what, Mr. Carley, I know you. And all of your deposits, when you come in, they're all good. There's none of your deposits are bad. And your funds are immediately available. Oh, and when he said that, I went, that's why I keep coming to this bank. And that's why I like to do business with you, because we've built a trust relationship, not because you like the way I part my hair or the hat that I wear, but because you've watched the behavior and you say, I can stand on that credibility. Is that cool or what?
That's fantastic. Yep. And then you'll tell them, your friends and your relatives about that bank and bring them referrals.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because I have a banker that I can talk to. It's not a 1-800 number somewhere.
Right.
But let me, this is a question I think you kind of answered, but maybe go into a little bit deeper. How well do you understand the underlying asset and exit strategy? I mean, can you think like an investor, or are you just an underwriting spreadsheet? You're almost investing in me somewhat. Is that right or no?
Yeah, we go through a fairly extensive initial interview, I would say. And we do that personally. We don't have an AI assistant or a bot. We want to talk to you. We want to ask you a bunch of questions about your business and see where you're at, and see how long you've been in business and who's your partners, and how's your top line, your bottom line, your inventory level. We ask you a very detailed business question. We want to do that first because a lot of times, Scott, I can tell within that first half an hour interview if I can usually get you financing or not. Sometimes it's 50-50, I can't tell, but sometimes I could say, Scott, I'm sorry, but let me give you a quick no now. And it's funny, people appreciate that because most people will, string them along, and just it takes them forever to get a yes or a no. So if I can't fund you, I'll remember. I know a lot of people. Who else can I refer you to? Maybe I can refer you to an investor. Maybe you really need equity. You can't take any more debt. I do know some investment bankers. I do know some private equity funds. So maybe I can refer you to that. Beauty is, people call me because I know so many people. And if I could, I'm a big connector, love connecting. I know you do too. You're the same as me. And if we can ever help anyone, But underwriting isn't as extensive as the banks. Your banks might need 30 pieces of paper. I might need 9 pieces of paper.
Yeah.
So it's not as tough. It's not as deep as the banks.
Yeah. I'd be upfront. I despise paperwork. I have to do it and I just despise it. But part of what I'm hearing from you is, and you just tell me, somebody calls you and says, "Hey, Artie, I got a situation and I just wanted to talk to you and see if maybe you're the person that can help me." Do you just automatically send them to your website and say, "Okay, fill out these 7 pages and give me your birth certificate, how old all your children are and all of that?" Or do you just have a conversation with them first? And in that discovery, then you decide, "Okay, I think I can help you. Here's the paperwork I'm going to need from you." Is that how it works? Does paperwork come first or the conversation come first?
No, I go through an extensive conversation. I tell you what documents, financial detailed documents I need to underwrite you. And then that's when I usually say, I don't know if I can finance you, but here's what I see right now. I see you do have collateral. You do have some assets we might be able to use for a collateral loan, but I'll need your 1-year tax return, a personal financial statement, 4 months of bank statement. So no, I have this discussion with you, and I give you the list over the phone, and then I say, don't worry, you don't have to write that down because I'm going to send you an application right now. What's your email address? And I send it right then and there. A lot of times before we even get off the phone.
Oh, that's good.
The list of documents, all my contact information, all my different programs that I have that I think I can help you with.
Yeah, that's good. I love all of that. I mean, that's my way of doing business. That's the way I coach people and do keynotes and all of that. I like the conversation first, and then we can go from there. So, well, my last question is, I would think that you have a team of people that you use, whether it's appraisers or loan processors or title experts. So tell me a little bit about the immediate team or whatever your team is that you use to make all this magic happen.
Yeah, no worry. It's funny. So when I set this business up, I didn't want any, as I say, I didn't want any employees and I didn't want any real estate. So I have 6 different independent contractors that underwrite and work my packages, actually.
Yeah.
So you have an expert that is an expert in purchase order funding, another expert in invoice fund. So expert meaning they underwrite the package, I collect the package, they underwrite the package, and they look at it, and then they'll call me and say, hey, this looks like a good deal. Get these guys on the phone. I have some questions for them. So we do a 3-way conference call between me, the customer, and one of my associates, one of my experts that's on my team, go through a bunch of different questions, a little more details. Then we might ask for 1 or 2 or 3 more financial documents. Usually the latest, you didn't send me the February bank statements, or you didn't send me the year-to-date P&L, things like that. And which is good because all these experts, associates have been doing this collateral asset-based lending for more than me, a lot of times 20, 25 years. So they have a lot deeper expertise than I do. So that's what my team is. As I say, about half a dozen people that are experts in their prospective asset, collateral, loans, depends on the collateral.
Yeah. And you probably, they have gotten to know how you operate. You've gotten to know how they operate. So you probably have a pretty strong vetted team, and it's pretty much the same people you use again and again. Is that right?
Yes, I've been with working with these people, associates, for a dozen years, really. And then I'm 2-3 deep. If one can't make it, I have usually, if they're on the bench, I have various people I call them on the bench that I can call if the front line, the blocking line, the offensive line can't make it.
I love all that. Audience, I don't know if you're really paying attention. I hope you are. You may be cooking in your kitchen, or you may be doing work somewhere, but I hope you're paying attention to what you're hearing from Artie today, because he is an expert. He is not a novice. He knows what he's doing. And if you get in a wrong place and you need somebody, you better consider Artie, because he knows what he's doing. I'm loving everything I'm hearing. Your trust credit score, we have one. It's not exactly like a FICO, but it's a trust credit score. Man, you're way up there in the high 800s.
I try. I tell people, I try. That's why I think my success, because I'm honest with people and straightforward with people. And, I tell you, if I don't get you funded, no worries, no harm, no foul. Let's see who else can help you, or how can I help you if I can help you.
Yep. That's it. Well, as we wrap it up, we've already had a great podcast. Is there anything else that you would like to add that we haven't covered so far? Anything else you want to tell our listeners?
If you remember, Scott calls me one of the most network guys in town. If you ever want to come out networking with me, I have about 120 people on my networking buddies list. So when I go to an event, I walk into an event, anywhere from one person accompanying me. My record at one time, I brought 27 people into an event accompanying with me. But that's really how you build business. Yes, we do all these social medias and all the AI and all that high-tech stuff, but it really comes, as Scott knows, it's people to people, person to person. It's relationship building. So if you ever need or want to come out and build your business, do business development. I'm former VP of sales. I get out, I go to 3 events a week, every week for the last 15 years. And as I say, my phone's ringing off the hook. So if I can ever help you or bring you to an event, get hold of me. You get hold of me through this. I'm sure Scott will put all my contact information at the end of this thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Artie, tell them. Do you want to tell them how they can get in touch with you? Is there a website or a phone number or something?
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. So my cell phone is 512-750-5768. My email is Artie, ARTIE, at ARTEX Artie at artexfunding.com. My website is artexfunding.com. So get hold of me, call me, email me, send me letters, cards, flowers, any of that stuff.
Yeah, you're not hard to get a hold of. And if you just go to any networking event around Austin, Artie's going to be at a few of them. So you won't have a hard time finding him. Well, Artie, thank you so much for being my guest today. I love the value that you bring. You've been an awesome friend, awesome networker, and we've been able to exchange referrals back and forth. And I really enjoy who you are as a friend. So way to go, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You're great yourself. You're a lot like me. You're out and about, and everyone knows you and everyone loves you. And I appreciate this moment here.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you very much. And audience, man, we're glad to have had you here with us today, too. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Change Energizer Hot Seat. And I don't know how much you enjoyed this, but we're taking this to local companies and conferences around town. If your company would like to bring me in to do a hot seat episode, just like we're doing right now, bring one of your key leaders, putting them on the hot seat and asking them 7 or 8 questions about, can I trust you? And let them vet and showcase why they are trustworthy, then give me a call. Reach out to the Change Energizer, and let's really raise the roof, raise the temperature a little bit with the Trust Energizer Hot Seat. So thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week. From Artie and Scott. Say goodbye to everybody, Artie.
Thank you. Have fun. It was great. Scott, loved it. Appreciate you and hope to see you soon.
All right. Talk soon.